Alright, we're kind of starting this video in the middle of a project here, but I got this 26 horsepower Briggs and scrap-on engine out of a Craftsman, of course, and I got this one for free because it had a sump leak and the mower had a bad deck, a bunch of problems there. So they junked it, and I already went ahead and I took the bottom plate off, the sump off, resealed it, put it back on. So hopefully that'll work. And what I'm going to do with that engine is replace this completely blown up Kawasaki engine and put it into that Toro Titan I got for free. So I went ahead and I washed it already. It was filthy, I tell you. Pulled the engine, of course, but it should bolt right in. Bolt holes are the same. All the hookups, I think, are the same. It might even just plug right in. I'm not sure, but I'm going to let that drip dry because I washed it because it was nasty. And then I'm going to, I think I can throw this Kawasaki exhaust right on here because the other one's got a mount on the actual tractor for the exhaust. So I'll put this on here. Hopefully it'll fit. And I think I'll go ahead and change that oil filter while I got it out. Probably be easier. And then dump this sucker in. Hope that I got the governor linkage and everything hooked up right so it doesn't just rev up and pop. But if it does, it does. And then if it all works out, we'll have a 54-inch mower. Hopefully. Well, unfortunately that didn't just bolt on like I hoped it would. I had to spread out these pipes about a 1/4 inch, and then I had to elongate the holes a little bit on each side to get the spread right so I get the bolts in. But it's on there. Hopefully everything will hold. I don't think I stripped out the heads too bad. No big deal either way. Hopefully it won't leak, and hopefully this mount, I'll have to see where it lands on the mower, but hopefully this mount doesn't have a problem with the engine. I think it sticks out a little more than the Kawasaki, but we'll set it in there and see. I'll go ahead and swap out the oil filter and drag that thing in, which is a pain because that one hydro won't release, but we'll get it in here, slap the engine in, and see how it sits. Well, so far so good. It bolted right in, and it looks like my little tab lined up on the exhaust there. I don't know if you can see it, but I should be able to get a bolt in that and it should clear everything. So that's good. I do see I'm going to have to make my fuel line a bit longer. It's a wee bit short. And this one doesn't have a separate choke cable. So what I'll do is I'll just put the throttle cable on, and all the way up will be choke, and then you'll bring it back to take it off choke. So it's a little different. I have probably got more of these with little detent halfway so you can know where to take the choke off, but for right now that'll work fine. And I'll have to add a ground that'll have to go to the bolt that's holding the engine in instead of on the side of the block like it was on the Kawasaki. I'm thinking this plug-in will probably work. I mean, they'll plug right in, but I think all the wires go to the same places, so I guess we'll find out. And of course I hook up my starter. That's all easy. Gotta put oil in it, can't forget that. Yeah, it won't be long and we'll see if it'll run. Alright, I think I've got everything important hooked up that I need to hook up. Fuel's not hooked up, and that's for an important reason. I want to fire it off spray, see if it way over revs, make sure I've got the governor thing in there right. And if I don't, and it revs way out of control, I don't want it to keep running. And that plug-in, I'm not 100% sure. I just plugged it in and we'll see what it does. But if it doesn't let me shut it off with the key, I don't want it to feed gas if it's over revving. So we're just going to see if it cranks first. I haven't checked the battery. And then see if we can get it to fire. Make sure it doesn't over rev. I've got it on low throttle, so hopefully all goes well. Let's turn the key and see what happens. I hear something buzzing, and that's never a good sign. Buzzing is not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. Those wires may not do what they did on the other machine. And it doesn't crank, obviously. So we're going to have to figure that out and see what's going on. Alright, step one, charge a battery, because that thing was deader than a doornail. But as I was looking around, I also found a ground wire I missed. So we'll hook that ground wire up somewhere, and hopefully the battery will get charged, and that'll take care of the goofiness, and it'll just work. I got my fingers crossed. Alright, ground is hooked up. I got her plugged back in. No more horrible ee noise. That's good. When it cranks, we got something else going for us. Let's get some carb spray and see if she'll pop off. Anyway, gotta get her in there first. There we go. I like it. Perfect. Runs, doesn't rev out of control, shuts off. I couldn't be happier. I think it'd be safe to go ahead and hook up the gas and get all the pulleys and stuff on the bottom for the drives, and it should be good to go after that. Alright, I got the drive hooked up, and I got a new fuel line on there. I don't think the gas in the tank is very good. It must have been sitting around a while, because it only really wants to run on choke, and it ran fine in the other mower, which had good gas in it. So I don't think it's an engine problem or carburetor problem. I think it's just gas is bad. And oh boy, she blows smoke out of that exhaust. I think when they blew up the old Kawasaki that I pulled that exhaust from, a lot of oil ended up inside there. So that'll have to burn out, but I don't want to drain the tank and put fresh gas in and all that. It does run on choke, so I want to see if the thing moves. So I'm going to set you up here, take the battery charger off, and see if the thing moves. Alright, moment of truth, I guess. I never did check the hydros because the engine had a blown engine. The mower had a blown engine. So I don't know if it moves. Let's hope it does. Let's hope it runs. Take it off, choke it, wants to die. Well, I have to get some better gas in it, but hey, it moves and the blades spin, so I'm going to call that a win. Alright, I got the majority of that old gas drained out of it and put in a splash of new stuff along with a new filter there, and the change was immediate. I ran it for a little bit and it smoothed right out, so hopefully it'll start on its own. Well, she's got plenty of power. That ain't a bad deal at all. I got the mower for free. I got the other mower for free I stole the engine from. The sump gasket I had laying around already from another project. The oil filter I had laying around. The fuel filter I had laying around. The only money I've got into it is 2 quarts of oil and that fuel line right there. Everything else I already had from other projects or was free. It's not a bad deal. I mean, as it sits all beat up and cobbled together, it's probably $1,000 more all day long, so I'm not going to complain about that.